I think one of the hardest things to really fix our minds around in life is that most things are not going to be as we desire. A lot of things are not going to go our way. So how do we deal with periods where it's like we have to do so many mundane tasks, day-to-day operations, activities, endless to-do lists, and especially when you're transitioning into adulthood, it's just this adjustment period where you realize the to-do lists and these like tasks, whether that's at work, outside of work, are actually going to comprise of the majority of your day. What I want to say is when it comes to dealing with outcomes that are not favorable to you, okay, whether that's a situation that you're in, you're feeling stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe you're not in the right direction where you hoped to be and you don't know what the next step is. I want to say something. As a preface, before I go into the two main categories or main areas, I want to start off with life is going to be like this for the most part. It's going to be, honestly, like 60 to 70% of your time awake is going to be doing those mundane tasks, to-do lists, disciplinary actions, activities that are either affiliated with your job or towards a goal or project that you're working on. And then, the other 30 to 40% of your life is going to be either social encounters or maybe time with yourself when you're working on your own projects. But the point being made is a lot of our life is going to involve constantly running around, carrying out tasks, chores. This is helpful to know that this is life and we don't want to try to avoid this. The first point here, 1 out of 2, we live life moment to moment. When you are encountering a stressful circumstance, you're tasked with something you really would prefer not to do, and it just feels like it's part of a job or it's part of a day-to-day routine. It's maybe some sort of disciplinary routine that you have that you're committed to. Life is going to comprise of many moments, okay? If you think of life as this big completed puzzle, and every moment is a minuscule puzzle, and there's just all these fragments, right? All these minute fragments that collect and create this picture of life, right? A lot of moments in your life you look back are moments that maybe you wouldn't love to revisit. And honestly, a lot of your life, especially, let's just say when it was in university or at school, when you were studying really hard, or when you're playing on a sports team, waking up at 5 a.m., a lot of moments are not super exciting, okay? But it makes up your life. And what I'm trying to get at here is when we think of life as moment to moments, it's not about that moment encapsulating or encapturing your life. It's just a moment. And our life is going to comprise of moments that we enjoy and satisfaction, but it's going to comprise a lot of moments that require and demand our effort, our discipline, our resilience. And I think that really helps actually to have patience. So when you're in a phase where you just feel like this is not going my way, everything feels like a mess, it's a moment. And we live in moments. And I'm going to go on to part 2, what we do with all those moments, okay? So we have agency to reflect, okay? So the goal is to get through these periods that we just feel there's uncertainty, we don't know if things are going our way, it's a tough time for us, we don't feel like things are working out. What I want to say is, in your mind, have a determined mindset to get what you have to get done, okay? And set some time aside, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and just reflect on your life and those moments, whatever it is that you were doing, whatever it is you were feeling, and ask yourself, okay, what about this now? What about these moments? What about this feeling that I have towards this activity or this aspect of my life? What feeling is that arousing, and what am I going to do about it? Okay? And this is really important because, listen, we have to get through these periods, but remember, we have agency. So that means in that moment, if we don't like it, we can say to ourselves, I have the authority here to map out my life and to take a course of action that more aligns with my desires and a direction that really supports and aligns my vision. Or we're just narrowing the road, right? Because we're always in life experimenting and trying and finding what works for us. We don't have to get it perfect the first time, but really the point that I'm trying to nail at, when you are going through a period that you just feel you kind of just want to give up, quit, don't know if you'll have energy for the next day, and it just feels, you're feeling overwhelmed. You're feeling really overwhelmed. The best thing you can do for yourself is to get through it with as much grace as possible, and you schedule time to literally think to yourself, what do I feel? Why do I feel this way? And what am I going to do about it? And I'm telling you that that's actually the catalyst for change. What we need to do is tell yourself, okay, what is the most optimal course of action? Do what it is you have to do. Just outline it. Take time to just decompress, do what you have to do, and schedule time, make it a priority to observe and reflect, okay? Because that is what's important to remember, is that it's temporary. If there's something not going your way, we are problem solvers, okay? We might not get to the answer right away. We have to knock on the door and figure out how we feel about something. What stage of life are we at? Who can we talk to, right? This is important. Okay, the whole point of this video is seriously how we get through tough periods in life when things aren't working our way and when we feel like we're in a situation we'd rather not be in, okay? And honestly, imagine you're juggling this in multiple domains of your life and you feel unhappy with multiple domains of your life. This is really important because the thing is, we're going to go back in time and maybe we're going to think to ourselves, you know, if I had only handled it just a little bit differently and maybe got through it with as much grace as possible, because life is not going to be easy no matter what we do, right? I said in the beginning, we have to clear the notion that there is a stress-free path. There is not. If you remove one problem, either another one will come up or you will make one up, okay? Knowing that, having the skill to know how to get through these periods of life that just, we feel tension, we just don't feel like something is aligning with us, or multiple things are aligning with us, or we don't feel like we are at a stage where we are comfortable with ourselves to some extent, or we don't feel confident in ourselves, and in multiple areas of our life. Remember, there's no such thing as a stress-free life. Knowing that helps, because when you are feeling inundated and maybe there's a thought that life should be simpler. Listen, like, we can make it simple, but we're going to get curveballs all the time, but we can make it simpler. Yes. So don't feel bad if life feels like it's constantly reshuffling the cards and you don't know what's going on and you just feel lost and overwhelmed. It's going to be life. Like, don't try to avoid it. So the first point I said, we live moment to moment. So stop trying to just connect the dots all at once and, you know, get upset at the situation. It's a moment. It's a moment, and life is a collection of moments, and we don't even know how this moment's going to serve us. Number 2, we have the agency to reflect, and we need to get through these periods as gracefully as possible and prioritize time to really adjust our thinking, critically think about our perspective, and if it applies to us, to recalibrate the way that we look at life, because sometimes it doesn't serve us. And I think these tough periods, honestly, if you really take the time to reflect, it will serve a purpose and be fruitful, right? And I'm saying this because if we look at life and these moments in life that we feel pressure and we feel unease, if we have a specific lens, we can really drive change and outcomes that are meaningful to us, and that will advance us. So, in conclusion, we need the appropriate perspective to look at life such that when difficulties arise and present themselves to us, we are prepared and we handle it with as much grace as possible, and most importantly, we kind of become alchemists in a way, which I think is what we're meant to do with difficult moments, and we figure things out about ourselves. We take those moments and we turn them into something valuable, moments that we feel we want to avoid and discomfort, and we really make something out of it that will advance us. And I think it's important to really deliver this message because life is comprised of a lot of difficult moments, and I think if we know how to deal with them, we can make life easier for us and a lot more meaningful. So that was today's episode. That's all. I'm also going to be experimenting with other types of videos as well, because I know I've been kind of more on the motivation and life advice speech end of YouTube. But if you guys want to see anything in particular, like lifestyle wise or anything, because I'm very open to suggestions, let me know. And yeah, that is it, my friends.